Hi guys, good morning and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Urvi and I live in New York City. And if you don't know, I went to fashion school in New York City. I got my master's in fashion marketing from LIM College, and that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to talk about my whole LIM College experience. I have been very involved with the college. I was super involved with the college even when I was there. So I keep getting a lot of questions on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram from a lot of you guys who are interested in LIM and just want to know my whole experience, my thoughts on the faculty, the program itself, and also if I think the college is worth it. So I thought this would be a great video to make, and I also want to make this super informative and answer all of your questions because I know it can be very tricky and cause some anxiety to pick the right school, and I hope that I can help you with this video. When I asked you guys on my Instagram, a lot of you did ask me LIM related questions, but a lot of you also wanted to know my study abroad experience in general, about my finances, about the exams I had to give, about the whole visa and application process. So I thought I'd make this a series because I didn't want to cram all of the information in this video, and I wanted this video to be specifically just about my whole LIM college experience. So yeah, in this video I'm gonna be answering 5 questions that I feel like a lot of you want to know about, and I feel like it's important to know before you pick a college. Number 1, how I found LIM college and why I picked it. Number 2, the application process and the fee structure. Number 3, the courses and electives that I took, my faculty and what I thought about the course material, etc. Number 4, my internships and the role that LIM College played in me getting those internships or helping me with the internships. Number 5, I'm gonna list the pros and cons of the college, which I think will help you make the decision as to what is right for you and what you should do. Definitely stick around till the end because I've watched so many LIM College experience videos on YouTube myself, and I'm gonna be going over stuff that I don't think anyone else in the videos that I have watched has gone over. So there's gonna definitely be some new information here, so definitely stick around till the very end of this video. And with that, let's just get into it. How I found LIM College and why I picked it. Now, to get into this, I have to give you a little bit of background on myself. I had a bachelor in science. I was studying microbiology and genetics, and towards the end I realized that I did not want to have a career as a scientist, or I did not want to pursue my master's in science. And so towards the end, in my final year of college, I also went ahead and got a new degree, which was very new at the time. It was an image consulting degree. In India especially, not a lot of people had heard about it, but I thought it was promising and interesting for me, and so I went ahead and got the degree, and through that I ended up being certified and working for Van Heusen in India, which was a PVH group company, and I worked as their in-store fashion stylist and personal shopper. And I worked there for a year, and through my experience working in the fashion industry, I realized that I did want to get a formal degree in fashion, and I thought that getting a master's degree would be great. And so I started looking at colleges online, and I started looking at career fairs in India to see which colleges were actually offering a degree. But at this time I was also very directionless because I was trying to see if I can do my MBA. I went to some MBA classes and see if I wanted to get into HR. I just did not know what exactly I wanted to do, and I also did not want to do fashion design because I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to, I cannot make clothes for real, like I cannot do that. I did have a slight acumen for business, and I always thought that I would do good with an MBA, and so that's why I was looking up MBAs. And not a lot of fashion schools offer these MBA programs that are catered to fashion itself, and that kind of narrowed down my search to very few colleges. And I found out about LIM through this career fair that I was at in India, where some representative from the college was there, and so I had it on my list that I wanted to research. Just to list the colleges that I did find had some sort of business and fashion degree. I found Academy of Art in San Francisco, and I found FIT and LIM both in New York City, and there was also 1 or 2 colleges in Milan and Paris. And so I was extremely sure about the course in Milan, and the academy was called Domus Academy, and I actually applied and I had my acceptance, and I was gonna go to Milan actually. But then as and when I was researching about the degree, about the course itself, about how life after graduation is going to look like. In Milan at the time, I could not, intern or have a job post graduating. I think I would have to complete the degree and exit the country in about 3 months. But I did want to, have some hands-on experience working in the country that I get my master's degree in. LIM's business and fashion programs really interested me, because when I saw that schools in the US like FIT were offering a similar degree, but they were both like 2 years long, and I found that LIM's college courses were super impressive because they were covering a wide variety of fashion business subjects, but they had it all integrated into a 1-year program. And I feel like that also played a major role in me picking LIM, because I had to consider all of the expenses that go into studying abroad, and that would definitely narrow down my expenses if I went to a 1-year program rather than a 2-year program. They have, I think now, 4 masters in fashion business degrees, and they have nothing to do with fashion design, and they're all 1-year programs broken up into 3 semesters, so you're all done in 12 months. And also LIM is an acronym for what used to be called Laboratory Institute of Merchandising, but I think they decided to drop it and now it's just LIM. 3 reasons I picked LIM. Number 1, it was a 1-year program, so that would mean that I would graduate early. I would be able to start applying for jobs early. I could start making money early. Number 2, I feel like the courses offered were really great. If you go through the curriculum, I felt like they were very extensive, and also LIM did provide us with an opportunity to intern from the very first semester, and I feel like interning is so important, and I definitely wanted to do as many internships as I could. And so not a lot of colleges in the US offer that. You have to at least wait for 2 to 3 semesters to be able to start interning, and at LIM that was not the case, which also played a major role in me picking the college. And number 3, no one can deny that going to a fashion school in New York City is the best experience ever, because so many fashion houses live here, so many, fashion companies operate out of New York City, and so I thought it would be a really good experience to come here to get my degree, because I feel like it would make it easier to get an internship or to get a job after. And also, New York is one of the 4 fashion capitals of the world. Number 2, let's talk about the application process itself. Once you decide that you do want to go to LIM, for international students like myself, you can go to the LIM website, and they do have a fully online application process. You can also actually take a virtual tour of the college on their website. So if you're not in New York City, if you're out of state, or if you're out of country, you can definitely go on their website and take a tour of the college. So yeah, when you apply online, there is a $40 application fee, which has been the same since the time that I applied, I think. And with your application, you of course have to submit all of your transcripts. You need to also have an essay talking about why you want to pick the degree that you want to pick and why you want to study business and fashion. Your essay is basically like your statement of purpose, where you justify why you deserve to go to the college. So your application needs to include that, as well as 2 letters of recommendation. Now, if you're from India, a lot of bachelor's degrees in India are 3-year bachelor's, and mine was a 3-year bachelor's degree as well. Whereas in the United States, it's almost always a 4-year bachelor's degree. So to justify that your 3-year college degree is worth 4 years of college in the United States, you might need something called the WES evaluation. It's WES, which means that an outside agency evaluates your degree and certifies that it is meeting the requirements of a US bachelor's degree and that you're okay to apply for a master's degree. And you also need your IELTS exam, which is the English proficiency exam. So yeah, I did have to take my IELTS, and I think for LIM, you need to have a 6.5 or higher score in your IELTS degree. And that's it. You don't need to take your GRE. The college does have almost an 85% acceptance rate, and so I don't think it's difficult to get into LIM or get accepted here. Even if you came from a different background, you do not have to have a fashion background. I definitely didn't have a formal bachelor's degree in fashion. I know a lot of people who also went to the college had no degree in fashion prior to coming to LIM. Now let's talk about the fee itself. So the master's programs at LIM are 1 year long, spread over 3 semesters, like I said. And to graduate with a master's degree, you need to have at least 30 credits. For me, each of my courses were 3 credits in college. And when I went to LIM, the fee was $925 per credit, and when I checked last on their website, it has gone up to $1,010 per credit right now. So if you are to apply to LIM in 2020 or 2021, you'd probably end up paying $1,010 per credit, and you need to have at least 30 credits to graduate. I graduated with 31 credits because I did have an extra internship, which counts as 1 extra credit. Just for the tuition, my fee came up to about $30 something thousand. It might be more now since the credit charges have gone up. And apart from this, if you're an international student, there's also other costs. Every semester you need to pay a visa maintenance fee, a graduate fee, etc. So I think that comes up to another $1,000 or so every semester. When I was at LIM, it was mandatory to have health insurance. I don't know if it has changed now, but the health insurance offered at LIM was another about $2,000. You couldn't refuse it unless you had a qualifying health plan that was matching the kind of health insurance that you were getting from LIM. And it was very hard, surprisingly, to find a matching plan, at least in India for me. So I ended up taking the LIM health insurance plan, which costs another $2,000 for the year that I was there. My education overall came up to about $35,000 or $36,000 at the time I went to LIM in 2017. And is LIM expensive? Definitely it is. But when you compare to these other colleges, they're all expensive, maybe a little bit lesser per credit than LIM, because I know FIT has about a $600 per credit charge. But in the end, if you look at it, if you're going to the school for 2 years, you would definitely end up paying a lot more than you would pay at a 1-year college. And that's why I feel like even though LIM was on the expensive side, it was definitely lesser than what you'd pay if you went to NYU, where I think the fee is about $60,000 or $65,000. Now let's talk about my experience, the courses that I took, and the faculty that I had, and just my general thoughts on LIM as a fashion school in New York City. I got my MPS in fashion marketing. In my first semester, I had 4 courses. In my second one, I had 4 courses. And in my third one, I had 2. And every course that I took was 3 credits, apart from the 1 internship that I had, which was 1 credit. LIM College itself, I would say, is a very small fashion school in New York City, and they have 3 different campuses in Manhattan, which are very close to each other. Almost all of the graduate classes happen at one campus, which is called the Maxwell Hall, and then they have another one where the undergrad classes happen, and I think they have another one where all the admin departments, etc., work out of. So yeah, it is definitely not a huge school. So if you're thinking about, a university like, Columbia or NYU, LIM is definitely not that. Even though it is small, I would say that they do have a good bunch of events and stuff. But I do know, especially undergrad students that wanted to have that kind of the big university experience, and they ended up transferring out of LIM, because LIM, like I said, is very small and not a huge university. It's just a small fashion school. Now let's talk about my courses itself. In my first semester, I had very fundamental marketing subjects, and they were not really tailored to fashion. So if you're coming from a non-fashion related or non-marketing or business related background, I feel like LIM does a pretty good job of introducing you to those fundamental subjects of marketing. My first semester was definitely very content heavy, I would say, and I learned all of the MBA related stuff that I didn't already know. So I feel like if you do have a MBA or if you do have a marketing related bachelor's degree, then it would get a little bit boring for you, because it is a lot of just fundamentals. My second semester, I think, was my favorite semester, because I feel like there was a lot of very interesting, very fashion specific, industry specific courses. I had a luxury brand management course. I had a new media marketing course, which talks about how you market through social media, etc. And then I also had a course in global marketing, which I thought was really super interesting as well. So content wise, I feel like my second semester was very, very fashion specific, and I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I learned so many things about the fashion industry that I wouldn't know otherwise. And then the third semester is basically just two courses. One of them was a capstone to do like a big project on a brand to, you know, show as your final thesis, if you will. So yeah, that's what the capstone was, and the other one was just a 3-credit internship. So I do think LIM as a fashion school does a very good job of, you know, just introducing all of those subjects and integrating them into a 3-semester program, because it does have the fundamentals, it does have a deep dive into the fashion industry, and it does also have an internship that you need to complete to graduate, which I think is super, super important, especially if you're trying to get into the workforce after college. Now, grad school at LIM was evening school, because a lot of people who did go to grad school had jobs in the morning or had internships, or you were encouraged to have internships in the morning, and it was not Monday through Friday. You could pick your own days and you can pick your own hours. In my first semester, I went Monday through Thursday. I had 4 courses, like I said, and they were divided into 4 days. But I think in my second semester, I was able to take two classes in a single day, so I only had to be on campus for 2 days a week. Talking about faculty, I actually want to, you know, talk about this a little more, because I know a lot of you want to know how the faculty is at LIM College. A lot of my teachers were really good, but a lot of them were also not so good. So I feel like this is one area where maybe I didn't pick the right people. Now, this is just my opinion. LIM prides itself for having faculty who has been working or is in the fashion industry, so that you can, you know, make connections, you can use their expertise to learn and also network with them and probably land an internship or a job somewhere. But I feel like some of the faculty that I have was not exactly from the fashion industry, which I would have preferred if they were. But I feel like some of the courses I was not so interested in, maybe because they were not delivered in a very interesting way, even though they were just fundamentals of marketing. I feel like there could have been a better way to deliver them. 70% of my faculty was great. I definitely made some very good connections. I went there in 2017, and I know that a lot of people may have changed since then. A lot of faculty may have been they may have new faculty, or the old ones may still be there, so I don't know, but you have to do your own research for that. I also want to talk about having an on-campus job, and especially because a lot of international students have asked me this about LIM, about if it's possible to work when you're going to school in LIM. The answer is no. You cannot get a job outside of college. You cannot, you know, be a barista or work at a McDonald's, or you cannot do any of that, because that goes against your visa restrictions. But you definitely can work on campus. LIM did have some on-campus jobs, but it was extremely hard. It is extremely hard to get them. For me especially, I was very, very adamant that I wanted to be working on campus. I wanted to be making some money so that I could pay for my living expenses at least. So I did reach out to professors. I actually very extensively did my research and reached out much in advance, even before I traveled to the United States. And so they somehow knew me, I feel like, because I was constantly reaching out and bothering them. And so when I got here, I did get an interview, and I had an on-campus job where I was the English tutor at the English department in the college. And also it helped that I had an image consulting degree, and I also had a certification in training and delivering material. So I feel like all of those things helped me get a job. But I know it is definitely not easy to get a job. I know a lot of people who I went to school with did try to get a job on campus and they couldn't get one. So it is definitely not easy. You shouldn't be counting on definitely having a job, because LIM, like I said, is a small school and the positions are very limited. And I did also have another job on campus, which was kind of unconventional, but I did have my blog before I came to the United States. And so when I got in touch with people at LIM inquiring about the possible jobs, etc., I think someone put me in touch with the marketing team at LIM, and they had me write some blogs for the college, and I wrote so many of them. I'm gonna insert some clips here. I wrote blogs about New York City fashion. I wrote about my journey of leaving India and coming to New York City. I wrote about my LIM College experience. I also want to talk about LIM College and the experiences there. I feel like my experience at LIM College was really good because they had so many events and so many networking related events. We had career fairs almost every semester. We had companies like Dior, companies like Calvin Klein, Swarovski, so many more fashion companies all come to this career fair, and you could at least, you know, network there. If not land an internship or job, you could definitely have these people's details, you could have their emails to reach out to. So I feel like LIM does a great job, especially with these networking events and putting you in touch with industry professionals, because I feel like networking in the United States is such an essential part of getting a job. Colleges in the United States don't promise you getting placed, or there's nothing like placement like we have in Indian colleges. So networking and getting to know people is very beneficial. And yeah, we also had a lot of like parties in college, and there was a student committee called GAP, I think, and we were able to go to a party at Ciprani on Wall Street in New York City, which was pretty cool. I think it was one of the coolest experiences because we got to meet Paris Hilton there. I'm gonna insert a picture of that here. And yeah, LIM definitely has a lot of like events, a lot of partying, a lot of fun stuff happening. So if you really want to get involved, if you really, you know, want to take advantage of everything that the college has to offer, I can promise you're gonna have a good time. For me personally, I had a great time at LIM because I was always very involved with whatever was going on, be it workshops, be it these cultural events, be it career fairs, the networking events, everything I was very much involved in. But I do know a lot of grad students that did not really have a good experience, found the college boring. A lot of undergrad students who transferred out, because I guess LIM is one of those unique colleges where the experience is good only if you make good use of it, and it is completely dependent on what you do with all the resources that are provided to you. Number 4, let's talk about internships and the role that LIM played in getting those internships. So during my time at LIM, I had 2 internships in total. You're not required to intern until the 3rd semester where it's a requirement because it's a course. Internships definitely help you so much to get your foot in the door, to again meet people actually in the industry and have some sort of you know, experience on your resume. I decided to do my very first internship, which I actually landed through LIM College's job search website. So they have this portal which was called Simplicity back then. They have a bunch of like postings for internships and for jobs in the fashion industry, and I actually made it a point to look at it regularly. And I happened to stumble across this internship at Town & Country, which is a part of Hearst Magazines. Hearst Magazines is a publishing house that owns several other magazines like the Cosmopolitan, the 17, the Harper's Bazaar magazine, the Esquire, and a lot of more magazines. So they had a posting for an ads and marketing intern, and I decided to try to apply. We had a graduate counselor who actually helped with my resume, helped put in a good word for me, and that actually really helped me land an interview there. And from then on, it was up to me, but I guess it all worked out, and so I got that internship. One thing you need to know about fashion especially is that internships in fashion really don't pay, and it sucks because I strongly feel like internships need to be paid across the board. Fortunately, that it wasn't the case when I was in college, and I don't think a lot of fashion internships are paid right now as well. So if you do happen to get one of those paid internships, that's really great and good for you, but I don't think it should be one of those top priority things, because a lot of internships like the one I had at Hearst Magazines are really great for your resume, but unfortunately aren't paid. The cool thing was that it was definitely an amazing experience, and I got to intern in this very fancy swanky New York City office, and their building is one of the most like you know, one of those must-see buildings in New York City. I'm going to insert a picture here. It is amazing that I got to be in there and work there. So it helped me learn exactly what marketing and advertising at a magazine looks like. And I feel like interning for me was also important because I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do after I graduate. Even in marketing and fashion, there is so many different roles you can do. You can be in digital marketing, you can be in PR, you can be in advertising. So I just wanted to, you know, get as much experience as I could through internships so I could decide on what my career should be and what I would like doing for the rest of my career. This is a picture from my internship at Hearst magazine. Let me know if you want me to make a video about just my internships, my jobs, and the kind of visa you need, etc. I can go in depth about all of that in another video. So if you want to see that, please let me know in the comments below and I will make that. And then I also had another internship at Authentic Brands Group. Acronym was ABG. ABG is a brand management firm which handles, I think, over 50 or 80 companies, and they do all of their PR. They do a lot of like marketing, brand management, design communications for the brand. So I was actually a PR and marketing intern there. Majority of my role was PR. Again, that was a great experience. Even though it was a full-time internship, I worked Monday through Thursday, 9 to 6 p.m. unpaid. It was still a very, very good experience because again, I knew nothing about PR, but that internship was definitely very content heavy and PR heavy, and so I got to learn a lot of things about PR. And the Authentic Brands Group internship, I also got that through networking. Another one of my classmates had worked or interned at ABG before me in the semester before mine, and I got to speaking with her on campus somehow. She said she could pass over my resume or recommend me for this internship that they were offering, and so she happened to do that and I got the internship. So definitely, if you do decide to go to LIM, do not underestimate the power of networking and going to all these events that enable you to meet the right people. And lastly, I just want to talk about the pros and the cons of LIM. In my opinion, I want to help you guys make the best decisions so you don't waste your time and your money. Okay, let's talk about the pros really quick. Number one, I thought that there was a lot of networking opportunities, and there was also a lot of parties, a lot of social events, a lot of places where you could just network with people who go to LIM. Number two, there was always coaching and helping with resume and a lot of like career coaching offered. Help was always there when I needed it, and that was a huge pro again for me. Number three, as an international student, I felt like there were so many resources for me given by the college in the form of workshops, in the form of like interviews, in the form of meetings with the counselor, meetings with your international student counselor, that helped you stay on top of your visa, that helped you know all the regulations, that helped you understand your options post-college, understand your options as to how to apply for a visa post-college, etc. So I feel like resources were always given through the college, and you feel valued as an international student, which made me feel valued as well, and so that was a huge pro again. Another pro for me, like I said in the beginning of this video, was that it was a one-year degree, and so I was able to get my master's degree faster. That was great because I did save some time and money there. And the last pro was, I think, the high acceptance rate. So even though I did have a prior experience a little bit in fashion, I did not have a bachelor's degree in fashion, which a lot of colleges demand if you want to be accepted into a master's or graduate fashion program. And I feel like LIM has a very high acceptance rate, and even if you do not come from a fashion background, if you do have interest in business, if you do have interest in fashion, they do make it easier for you to get accepted to the college. And now coming to the cons of LIM College, I feel like high acceptance rate was also a con. It was definitely a pro for a lot of people, but it was also a con because I feel like at LIM sometimes they value quantity over quality. So, and I don't want to sound snobby in any way saying this, but I just felt like there were a lot of people who just were at LIM because they wanted to study abroad, or they wanted to come to America, or they wanted to be in your city, and this was the easiest way to do that and get in the fashion industry, get in the glamour and all of that. The second con is that the master's program at LIM is not considered as a STEM degree. A STEM degree is anything that's like a science, technology sort of major, or if you go to a school like NYU for an MBA, which is a 2-year program, you get a STEM degree. And what a STEM degree allows you to do is stay in the United States after graduating for 2 to 3 years and just work on your OPT, which is a optional practical training. Again, I'm not going to get into the visas too much in this video. The LIM college degree is not a STEM program, so you only get 1 year after graduating to work in the field of fashion, as opposed to if you were going for a 2-year master's program or a different major somewhere else, you would get 2 to 3 years. And that brings me to my third con, which is the MPS program at LIM is not properly accredited. I don't mean to scare you here, but I did not know this when I joined the college. I only got to know this when I graduated and when I was applying for my work visa, etc., that master's degree program students get a special kind of cap or a special kind of preference in the H-1B or the work visa lottery here, and I felt like I would be qualified for that because I did have a master's degree. But they told me that the master's program at LIM was not accredited by a government body suitably enough for it to be counted under that special cap for master's students. So yeah, that was a drawback for me while I was applying for my work visa, and just something for you to be aware of if you do plan to do the same. My fourth con is that LIM is a small fashion school, like I mentioned earlier, and so if you're looking for a big immersive university experience with the huge campus and huge parties, and then LIM is probably not for you, especially the graduate program, because the people that attend the graduate program at LIM have full-on jobs in the morning, have very busy lives, and so it gets harder to make friends here. It's harder to have a fun kind of college experience. So if you do happen to be considering LIM's graduate program, make sure you're like super serious and you don't just want to do it to come to America and to have fun. Make sure you're joining LIM for the right reasons. And my last con was, like I said before, the faculty that I had in my first semester I didn't feel was exactly from the fashion industry. I felt like it was much more generalized, and I feel like LIM could have done a better job at getting better professors or people that would make delivering a super dry subject much more interesting. Maybe I just didn't pick the right professors, but I did have 2 or 3 professors that I was not really fond of the classes that they were teaching. So yeah, I feel like that was a little bit of a con, but not too much, because I did have some great professors as well. And with that, we're at the end of this video. Now I'm definitely gonna follow this video up with another video about my whole study abroad experiences, how I managed to pay my fee, how I managed to get my loan, where I lived, how I managed to commute to school, just how I changed my stream from being in science to being in fashion. So definitely please stick around, and if you like this video, if you thought you found some useful information in here, then please give it a thumbs up, share it with anyone you know who might be looking to study abroad, and make sure you are subscribed to my channel to follow along my journey of living and working in your city full time. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.